What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. I hope y'all have been enjoying the grind of Onslaught with all of these builds that we have all been giving you with so close to the prismatic subclass and final shape coming up here in just a couple weeks. We are going to go over our last solo build, if you will. Then we are going to cover some builds as well as weapons that I'm going to be taking and think might be necessary inside of the final shape. But of course, we got the Orpheus Rig Infinite Super build right here for our tether. So we got the uncanny arrows as our armor perk on the Orpheus Rigs right here. Provides additional ability energy for each target tethered by Deadfall Acres. Mobius Quiver has an additional shot, but we are using Deadfall for sure. Just that solo shot. Let everything inside of there get caught. Defeat it by the end of the wave. You basically got your super back if you don't already have it. So for this build, I went with some even stat distribution with resilience at my 100, with recovery, discipline, intellect all being at 70. Felt the best when I was playing, and the difference really between this and 90s aren't really that too crazy. Maybe 10 seconds for intellect as discipline. Recovery, I wish I could have got this up to 100, but I am lacking on my hunter. Won't lie for that armor pieces. So just a little thought for y'all. Definitely resilience. Then I would probably go with recovery, intellect as your next two. As for our mods, we got heavy ammo finder on this, harmonic siphon, and powerful friends, all helping us to get more orbs of power as well as getting ourselves some heavy ammo. We're going to be using bolstering detonation as well as focusing strike, so we are able to get our dodge way faster, because we are going to be using our mobility super weak here, but we are using it to go invis as well as gambler's dodge. It comes back very quickly anyway, so that helps, but bolstering with focusing helps a bunch, as well as harmonic loader, so we can load those void guns way faster. As for our chest piece, went with arc as well as double solar. Was just facing those hive inside of the legendary vault stock, so it is a good thing to throw on whatever you are going into when you're facing those ogres. You could change this out to something like a double void so you don't get absolutely annihilated by them. As for the mods we got on our class item as well as our legs, we got that double weapon surge right here with time dilation, of course, because we got that armor charge giving us the little bit longer 17% damage increase from having dual, and then even more orbs of power we're going to be creating with this build to help us with our fragments as well, so you will see in a second, plus all the orbs that we're creating via Reaper as well as harmonic siphon help to spread the powerful friends as well as get us our super back even faster when we pick all of those up. As for weapon choices we got on this, I went with Riptide with the chill clip heating up on this, so we can get that nice slow and stun on the different types of champions. You could go with Scatter Signal as well, since our class item, or artifact I should say, has some good perks for both of those, but totally depends on the enemies you are going up against. I just used this because we were going up against some unstoppables and I didn't have that on me. I went with Graviton Lance. This thing was absolutely dapping people up. Vorpal weapon cosmology, especially paired with our Orpheus and our Deadfall that we got. It is a match made in heaven for getting us all those defeats with the Void synergy, creating even more orbs of power. On top of that, we got our Hammerhead, Killing Tally, and the Assassin boss spec on this. We got Appended Mag as well as Fluted. Look at this god roll, absolutely nutty for the Crucible as well with all of this. So this is my favorite roll that I have gotten so far. But of course, Indomitability, this helps so much using that light subclass that we are, allowing us to get back our grenade even faster. So this is a great addition to this build. Now when we moved on to our damage faces, I did try this bad boy out right here with the linear compensator, spike grenades, envious bait and switch on this thing, so we were able to get some nice juicy damage on those bosses, but totally up to you. You could also use that nice killing tally as well, so up to you with between the hammerhead as well as the edge transit. As for the artifact, like I said, this is definitely a solar artifact, but totally if you are using the Riptide, I went with Hailstorm Pillar of Ice right here for that frozen targets gives us stasis crystals, as well as shattering them releases shards of ice that damages or slows those targets. Or if you're using the Strand, you get the unraveling rounds by picking up orbs of power, as well as defeating or damaging those unraveled targets will help us to spawn even more of those threadlings. Not that we're really spawning them at the moment, but when you are using Strand, definitely a lot flowing. On top of that, while Radiant, we deal increased weapon damage to combatants affected by Strand or Stasis, so we are going to be applying that Strand or Stasis debuff for us as well as our fellow teammates. We had a well, so that helped us to become Radiant, which this still applied for. Same kind of premise down here. When we are breaking a combatant's shield with Strand or Stasis, we are going to have the chance to suspend or freeze them, so that works with both of those fusion rifles. Now down here, we aren't really using any of this on any of our weapons. You can kind of tailor your loadout if you would like to have some of these origin perks, but we are using Wished into Being, so we get some more orbs of power to spawn on those ability final blows when our super is nearly fully charged, which is basically always with this build with Orpheus Rigs. And then of course we got that Overload Pulse Rifle if you would like for the Graviton Lance, and then you could go with Overload Auto Rifle. I did have one other option for it with the Ross Arago 4, very good auto rifle. Rerun Golden Tricorn pairs very well with the Void subclass, but definitely for the artifact, looking at what we got down here, as well as totally up to you depending on the fusion you use. As for subclass abilities, aspects, fragments, we got our Deadfall, of course. So when we get all those defeats with the tethered enemies, they have the nice ability regen that we get not only on our super but also on our grenade as well as our snare bomb with our void melee. I chose scatter grenades because I like its ability to cause those bigger explosions, and I get it back very fast with the cooler down, with a lower cooldown I should say. So it is a very good grenade to have on, but you could go also with Vortex, but you can see it's a whole 45 seconds longer, so that's why I went with that. On top of it, we went with Gambler's Dodge, like I said, because our mobility was so low. Having this base cooldown at 38 felt like it came back very quickly. Plus with Orpheus, we're getting our class ability back as well with those defeats, but we are able to use our snare bomb more often as well, because when we dodge near enemies, we get our snare bomb back. Now that is important because we are using Trapper's Ambush, so we can use that nice quick fall and activate that smoke bomb where we slam on the ground, making us as well as our fellow allies invisible. Plus it weakens targets caught in that little burst, so it is a good little way to get away from trouble as well as cause weakening onto those targets. So that is why I was using Gamblers plus the snare bomb, like I said, as well as Orpheus with Deadfall. We're going to be able to spam our grenade, snare, as well as our dodge. Now we are going to be using Vanishing Step as well. I just didn't feel like Trapper's Ambush was getting procced enough for me, or I should say the other one inside a Stylish Executioner, so Vanishing Step just felt a little bit better, especially since we are getting Gambler's Dodge back pretty quick. Now we are going to be using Echo of a Reprisal to help us get our super back even faster, so we got to get up close and personal sometimes, so when we are surrounded by those combatants within a certain distance, we will get even more of that super energy, helping us to absolutely spam our tether. On top of that, we're going to use Echo of Persistence, so our Devour, Invisibility, and Overshield that we're getting is having increased duration. We're getting Devour in a second here via picking up those orbs or void breaches. We get that, so a little bit longer duration, plus the invisibility from both Trappers as well as Vanishing Step. And then last but not least, I went with Echo of Instability, so those grenades grant us volatile rounds because I didn't want to tank my grenade energy with something like weakening on those grenades, and I really like that volatility on top of the cosmology of the Graviton Lance plus the tether and the Orpheus Rigs. Like I said, it's not only ability energy of your super, it's also the ability energy of your dodge, melee and grenades. So when you pop that and get those defeats inside of your tether, you're going to be able to spam your grenade. You're going to be able to go invisible all the time, as well as that trapper's ambush if you would like, with the quick fall weakening targets, or you could even just throw them out to weaken targets if you would like. So the build is very, very good, definitely for that end game content if you want to go into it. Orpheus with the legendary Onslaught is a breeze, being able to carry your team with orbs of power, as well as the ad clear potential, ad management, keeping everything at bay, giving your fellow guardians that nice crazy ability to have a bunch of orbs of power. So hopefully they can also pop their super quite often, because you're going to be creating orbs like crazy on this build, with not only the super but also with Reaper, as well as your weapon with Graviton Lance. It is definitely very, very good in Onslaught, no matter if it's normal or legendary. So definitely give this build a try out. We have an Omni Oculus build that is similar. I like them both pretty much the same, but we have got a lot of them on the channel. So definitely, while you're farming these last couple weeks, you can get to the channel, look at all of those. So like, subscribe on the video, that helps me out as well as the channel. Plus the algo will push you some more Destiny content. Also, don't be afraid to slap that bell if you haven't, so you don't miss out on any of the content here. God roll guides, builds, final shape news. We're gonna have a bunch of content coming out with final shape. Prismatic is going to be nasty. We got a day 1 raid, so it is going to be a busy June for your boy. So again, I truly appreciate it all for coming back to the channel. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.